I've started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. The first thing I learned about interstellar diplomacy is that no matter how shiny the marble floors are or how elegantly the alien nobles smile, someone in the room probably wants you dead before dessert. The second thing I learned is that assassins like me tend to be invited to peace negotiations only when someone expects peace to fail. That thought crossed my mind precisely 1 second before the window to my left exploded and a plasma bolt tore into the seat I was supposed to be sitting in. That was when I knew 2 things for certain. 1, someone really wanted me dead. And 2, I was definitely going to enjoy this trip. My name is Kai Mercer and officially I am Earth's first interspecies negotiator. Unofficially I am the government's last resort. They call me an assassin diplomat, which sounds contradictory until you attend a galactic peace summit and realize negotiation and violence are basically cousins holding hands. Earth had sent me to negotiate a trade and defense agreement with the Elder Council of Nobles, the most powerful ruling houses in the known galaxy. A great opportunity to bring humanity into the political core. Or a glorified way to get vaporized by an unknown enemy within 5 minutes of arrival. The shuttle pilot did not even react when the window shattered. Either he had nerves of steel, or he had been paid not to care. The plasma round hummed as it melted the alloy framework where my head had been. I rolled into the aisle and drew my sidearm, which was disguised as a fountain pen because the nobles had banned weapons aboard their citadel. I figured concealed weapons still fell into a gray area of etiquette. The pilot glanced briefly through the cracked glass and cleared his throat as if someone had spilled a drink. "We seem to be under attack, Ambassador," he said in a monotone voice that suggested he dealt with this every other Tuesday. I noticed the assassin drone hovering outside the window. A sleek silver sphere no bigger than a grapefruit with a targeting lens that pulsed blue. It scanned for me again. So it was a professional hit after all. I flicked the cap off my pen and aimed. The disguised weapon released a compressed rail shot that punched straight through the assassin drone. It crackled with blue sparks before spiraling down toward the clouds below. My AI companion Tink floated up from my shoulder armor, a tiny drone about the size of a soda can and shaped suspiciously like a mechanical hamster. "First day of diplomacy," Tink said. "I give you 6 hours before someone tries to poison you too." "Your faith in me is touching," I said, holstering the pen. "Any idea who is trying to kill us already?" Tink spun in a lazy loop above my shoulder. "The list of potential suspects is shorter if we focus on those who do not hate humans." "So no suspects then?" "Exactly." I sighed as the shuttle docked with the floating citadel of Verinder. The Council's home station was enormous, a ring-shaped fortress orbiting a dying star. Gold spires reached out from its frame as if it were part cathedral, part weapon. The docking bay opened and a blast of cold metallic air swept in. A procession of guards waited at the entrance wearing ceremonial armor inlaid with glowing runes. One of them stepped forward, tall, silver-armored, and carrying a staff that could probably double as a railgun if needed. "Welcome, human negotiator Kai Mercer," he said. "I am Commander Ral Vox, security head of House Vox and guardian of this citadel. You will be safe here." He said that last part with the same sincerity someone uses when telling you how little the bite from their pet snake hurt. I silently wondered if he had been the one who ordered the attack. Tink silently transmitted a probability calculation to my retinal display. Suspicion rating Ral Vox 64%. Likely motive remove unknown human variable. Commander Vox escorted me through the polished corridors that shimmered with floating holograms of ancient battles and royal decrees. The violet banners of House Thal hung from the ceiling bearing their emblem, a coiling star serpent. The deeper we moved into the citadel, the heavier the political atmosphere became. Nobles strolled in lavish robes accompanied by armored retainers. Every gaze carried judgment, curiosity, and a hint of disdain. Humans, after all, were considered primitive newcomers to the galactic stage. As we reached the Hall of Accord, my introduction ceremony was already in progress without me. Nobles and dignitaries from dozens of species filled rows of crystalline seats. A towering alien in flowing robes stood at a podium, his blue skin glowing faintly under the hall lights. And now we shall welcome Earth's ambassador, whose presence marks the dawn of new unity between our peoples, he declared, spreading his arms dramatically. The ambassador arrives as a symbol of hope, diplomacy, and... Late, Tink whispered. Ralph Vox gestured me forward, and I walked to the center of the hall. My shoes clicked against the crystal floor as I faced 1,000 curious alien faces. The host continued. Ambassador Kai Mercer, we greet you as an ally. You will find no safer place in the galaxy than here. My gaze flicked toward the upper balcony just in time to see the glint of another plasma rifle trained on me. I did not hesitate. I grabbed the host by his robe and yanked him down with me as a crackling plasma shot burned a hole where his head had been. Gasps erupted across the hall. Guards scattered as I rolled behind the podium. The hall exploded into chaos. Tink, I said. On it. Tink fired a burst of counterstatic that disabled electronic weapons nearby. Commander Vox stormed forward, spear staff raised. Guards tackled me to the ground, pinning my arms. Nobles shouted accusations. Some demanded my execution. Others fled. The host climbed up, red-faced and furious. This is an outrage, he screamed. You dare attack in this sacred hall? I did not fire that shot, I snapped. Silence fell across the room. The nobles watched. Some intrigued. Some suspicious. And in that silence a slow, amused clap echoed from the balcony. A woman descended the stairs in a gown of shimmering indigo that flowed like liquid night. Her dark violet hair framed a sharp, calculating face. When she smiled, it was with mischievous intelligence. I recognized her from the intelligence briefings. Vexa Thal, heiress of House Thal. Someone clearly does not want the humans here, she said, her voice smooth as silk and just as dangerous. How fascinating. Commander Vox glared. Lady Vexa, this is not a spectator event. I disagree, she replied, crossing her arms. It just became the most interesting event of the decade. She turned to me. Ambassador, let us see if you are as dangerous as the rumors suggest. Rumors, I said while the guards still held me. What exactly have you heard? She smiled again. That Earth did not send a negotiator. They sent a weapon. The hall went silent again. If they did, that would be a very foolish thing to admit, I said lightly. Especially to people who keep shooting at him. Vexa stepped closer. I am going to enjoy this summit. She leaned in just enough for only me to hear. And I know you did not fire that shot. But I also know someone here wants to frame you. My jaw tightened. Why? That, she said, is the better question. But I suspect the answer will be fun and possibly explosive. She walked away and the guards hesitantly released me. I straightened my coat. The political game had begun. And someone had already made their first. The citadel returned to its carefully staged calm, the way a liar returns to a story that was almost exposed, pretending nothing ever happened. After the chaos in the Hall of Accord, security drones swarmed the corridors, nobles whispered like restless insects, and armed guards patrolled in formation. Publicly, everyone claimed the summit would proceed as planned. Privately, no one trusted anyone anymore. Which was great news for me, because assassins thrive in two environments, shadows and paranoia. This place had both. I had been escorted to my guest chamber, which was located in the diplomatic wing of the citadel. Strictly neutral territory, or so they claimed. My room was a crystalline suite with a view of the dying red star outside. The room, like everything belonging to the noble class, existed solely to display unnecessary wealth. The bed was carved from lemiglass stone. The walls pulsed faint energy patterns that probably meant welcome or please do not bleed on the furniture. Even the bathroom sink looked like a teleportation gate. Fancy. But I was not here to admire the interior design of galactic royalty. Someone was trying to remove me from existence, and I needed to know who, why, and how soon I would have to return the favor. Someone is approaching, Tink said, hovering by the door. 2 life signatures. 1 noble, 1 unknown guard class. They are not here to deliver snacks. Great, I said. I am starving. The door opened without a chime or knock. Protocol dictated diplomatic courtesy, but the person who entered had no interest in protocol. Vexa Thal walked in like she owned the room, which, knowing House Thal, she probably did. She wore a deep violet cloak now, and her hair was tied back, exposing sharp cheekbones and eyes that held too many secrets. "You should fire whoever decorated this room," she said. "It is painfully sterile." "That is because they were going for safe diplomatic environment," I said. "No poisonous plants. No hidden blades. Minimal explosive ornaments. Very disappointing." She smiled lightly. "You are interesting, human. Most people here are terrified of saying anything clever. They speak like they are afraid their own sentences will assassinate them." "Words can be deadlier than bullets," I said. "Then you must carry them both," she replied. "Do you always expect assassination attempts wherever you go?" "Only when I am awake," I said. Vexa motioned to her guard to remain outside. The door slid closed behind her. She faced me in silence for a moment, studying me with a gaze so direct I could feel her weighing my worth like a weapon merchant appraising a new blade. "Someone tried to kill you before you even reached the hall," she said. "Then they tried again. Either you are very unpopular or someone believes you are a threat." "Everyone here thinks I am unimportant," I said. "A human from a new planet with no military dominance, no influence. Hardly a threat." "Yet you survived 2 assassination attempts," she said. "That changes things. You are either very skilled or very lucky. I want to know which." Why she asked told me everything. She was not afraid. She was curious. That made her more dangerous than any gun in the room, because curiosity drives people to act without hesitation. "Because the High Council will not end this summit," I said. "Someone wants war instead. And whoever fired those shots did not care about hiding the attempt. They wanted to send a message. To me and to Earth. Maybe to you too." "Interesting," she said. "And you are here because Earth wants peace." I gave her a dry look. "I am here because Earth wants to survive." She considered that. And smiled again. "You are either honest or very good at pretending. Both are rare." She handed me a small data crystal. "You were not supposed to see this," she said. "But you will. Because I have decided we have a common enemy." I scanned the file through Tink, and a series of images projected across my neural display. It was a crime scene. A dead noble. Judging by the elaborate robe and initials on the signet pendant, he was someone important. House Caldris, if I remembered correctly. His throat was slit cleanly. No sign of struggle. Professional work. "That happened an hour ago," I said. "Yes," Vexa said. "And you are going to be framed for it." I frowned. "That seems unnecessary. The summit already thinks I am a walking murder headline." She stepped closer. "This is not a political insult. It is a calculated move. You will be accused and executed. Earth will lose its seat at the summit. Then someone moves in with whatever plan this assassination was meant to hide." "And how do you know this?" I asked. "Because I was offered money to stay out of it," she said. "And House Thal does not take bribes. We make bribes. So why warn me?" "Because you are interesting," she said. "And because if someone is willing to kill a noble to sabotage the summit, then they are planning something far worse. And because I am not fond of losing games I have not agreed to play." She turned to leave. "I will contact you again. In the meantime, you should probably not be here when the guards arrive." "Wait," I said, stepping forward. "Why trust me?" "I do not," Vexa said. "That is why this will be fun." She left. The door slid shut behind her. Seconds later, Tink beeped sharply. "Multiple life signatures incoming," Tink said. "Hostile scan pattern. Armed." "Then we need to go now," I said. "There is a maintenance shaft 2 doors down that connects to the lower engineering level," Tink replied. "But you will not like what is between here and there." "What is between here and there?" "Commander Rao Vox and 10 security enforcers." Of course it was. Because nothing in my life could be simple. We stepped out into the hall and I instantly spotted the ambush. Rao Vox stood at the far end with his guards in formation. He looked mildly irritated, like my existence was a personal inconvenience. "Ambassador Kai Mercer," he said in a voice dripping with false civility. "You are under arrest for the murder of Lord Caldris of House Caldris. Surrender peacefully." I considered my options. Surrender and die. Fight and die. Run and probably die. But of the three dying options, running promised the most entertainment. You have the wrong person, I said. You were recorded near the scene, Vox said. You have no alibi. And you already survived 2 assassination attempts. I am beginning to think someone wants you to stay alive just long enough to disgrace Earth. If someone wanted to frame me, I said they would do better than that. Enough, Vox snapped. Surrender. I took a slow step back. I would love to, but I just remembered I have somewhere else to be. I bolted left. Plasma fire scorched the walls behind me. Tink dove after me as we sprinted down the hall. Guards closed in from both directions. I ducked behind a column as a volley burned a hole through the floor near my foot. They are trying to pin us down, I said. That would be a good strategy, Tink replied, if it were not for their unfortunate disadvantage. What disadvantage? You are extremely annoying when cornered. I grinned. He was right. We broke through the nearest security panel and dropped into a maintenance shaft. Shots followed, but we slid out of reach. I hit the ground 2 levels down and rolled to my feet. Access to engineering deck ahead, Tink said. Why engineering? Because if someone is framing you, there will be evidence planted somewhere. Organized minds leave trails. Even clever assassins make mistakes. And what do you think we will find down there, I asked. A conspiracy, Tink replied. The engineering deck of the Citadel was not built for noble eyes. It was for workers, technicians, and people like me who needed to disappear. Gone were the polished marble floors and gold banners. Down here the walls were raw alloy, pipes hissed with steam, and the air smelled faintly of plasma fuel. The political performance above our heads seemed like a distant lie in a place like this. Machines did not pretend. They broke, they worked, or they killed you. Simple. Honest. Brutal. Tink floated close beside me, scanning the narrow corridor ahead. Motion sensors disabled. No drones within 60 meters. Life signs minimal. Good. Last thing we need is Vox sending half his army down here, I said as we stepped over a cluster of maintenance cables sprawled across the floor like metal vines. Find me a secure uplink. We need to pull security feeds from the West Wing. I want to see who actually entered that murder scene. Already working on it, Tink replied. But we have a problem. Only one, I asked. A stabbing murder inside the most secure political facility in the galaxy reeks of professional assassination. And yet the method used suggests blades over plasma. That means close contact. That means someone with access. So a noble, I said. Or someone disguised as one, Tink replied. I knew what he was hinting at. Infiltration, impersonation, surgical kills. That was my area of expertise. Whoever had done that job did not just frame me. They were sending a message. They were saying, I am playing on your level. Can you catch me? We reached a maintenance hub where a circular console bristled with control panels. Tink connected and dim blue holographic feeds flickered to life. Dozens of surveillance windows hovered in front of me. Corridors, hallways, transport lines, docking bays, noble chambers. Somewhere among them was the truth. Rewind feed 19, I said. Footage jumped backward to show the corridor outside Lord Culver's chamber. The time stamp matched the murder window. There. Someone cloaked entered the hallway. Face masked by a veil of distortion tech. They paused briefly, scanned the area, then slipped inside the noble chamber. No hesitation. Clean movement. Familiar pattern. Professional assassin. Look closer, I said. Rewind 3 seconds. Enhance right wrist. Tink magnified a brief glint of metal at the edge of the intruder's sleeve. A ring. Inscribed. House insignia. The House of Ral Vox. He is framing himself, Tink said. That makes no sense. No, I said. He wants us to think he is framing himself, which means someone else took an insignia to plant it. Unless it really was someone in his house. But that raises another question. Why murder Culver's? He was not influential. Not enough to risk collapsing a diplomatic summit. Look up Culver's assets, I said. Tink pulled records. As expected, Caldrus had no political leverage. But he held something more dangerous. Resource licenses, mining access, location control for restricted systems. He had owned a nearly barren system with an unstable star. A system not worth anything. Until the file revealed what lay hidden in the asteroid belt. Eclipse fragments, I said. Unrefined antimatter crystal, Tink replied. The only fuel pure enough to power a star crusher. One wrong explosion could annihilate a planet. Lethal resource. So someone killed Caldrus to seize ownership of these fragments, I said. But why hide all this in the middle of a diplomatic summit? Because something big is coming, Tink said. Footsteps echoed nearby. I froze. A shadow moved through the doorway, slow and deliberate. Someone was entering the hub. I drew my weapon. Tink dimmed his lights. A figure stepped into view. Female. Violet cloak. Sharp silver eyes. Well, if you wanted to hide, you could have picked a better place, Vexathal said. I lowered the pen gun. Good to see you too. How did you find us? You are very loud, she said. And the citadel does not have many places for fugitives to go. So you are here to turn me in? On the contrary, she said. I am here to see how far this conspiracy reaches. You do not survive long in noble houses without learning to follow the money. Or in this case, she glanced at the hologram, the fuel. I nodded. Then you know what Caldrus was murdered for. I had my suspicions, she said. I did not know he had eclipse fragments. That changes everything. We have a problem, I said. Someone is building something. Something that needs that power. She looked at me. Do you know what weapon uses eclipse fuel? I do, I said. The eclipse pulse? The words hung in the air like poison. That weapon is supposed to be a myth, Vexa said. An ancient technology banned for destroying a star system. Not a myth, I said. Earth dug up records about it centuries ago. The pulse was designed to eliminate planetary defense networks by destabilizing their stars. And once the pulse fires, there is no stopping chain collapse. Systems die. Species vanish. And someone wants to build one here, Tink added. Lights flickered and alarms blared. Intruder detected. Ral Vox voices roared through speakers. Seal the engineering deck. Capture them alive. We have company, I said. Vexa folded her arms. You really are a magnet for chaos. The ceiling exploded as armed drones descended from above. They opened fire instantly. We scattered behind consoles. Plasma shouts seared the air. The engineering deck erupted into a storm of light and smoke. You still think Vox is behind this? I shouted over the noise. He is too obvious, she replied. Too direct. Someone else is pulling strings. Then we need to move before the string puller kills us both, I said. We darted into a maintenance tunnel as drones swarmed behind us. The tunnel shook as explosive charges detonated. Something is wrong, Tink said. They are not aiming to capture. They are trying to collapse the tunnel and bury us. We reached a junction. Smoke filled the passage. Ahead, two paths veered in opposite directions. Left went deeper into the engines. Right ascended toward the restricted archiving levels. We have to pick one, Tink said. Which way leads to Vox command level? I asked. Right, Tink said. I chose left. We need answers, Vexa said. Vox might have them. He will not give them, I said. He wants me dead. And if he is controlled by someone higher, he is more dangerous than we thought. We go to engines. The Eclipse Pulse will need a reactor array. If they are building it here, it will be connected to main power. That is where we will find proof. Vexa looked at me, then nodded. Very well. Show me why Earth trusts a man like you. Trust, one said. They do not trust me. They use me. We moved deeper. The roar of reactors grew louder until the tunnel opened into a massive circular chamber. The citadel heart. Reactor pylons towered in a maze of catwalks. And at the center, nestled between coils of glowing crimson energy, was a structure that did not belong. Sleek. Black. Humming with deadly potential. It resembled a spire locked in scaffolding. Its design was unmistakable. Prototype Eclipse Pulse, Vexa whispered. Someone is turning the citadel into a weapon, I said. A mobile execution platform. Bring in diplomats from every world, then destroy whichever refuses to submit. We heard footsteps. I raised my gun. But no gun would have prepared me for who stepped from the shadows. Commander Ral Vox himself. He stood with calm authority. That will be quite enough, Ambassador, he said. You built this, I said. No, he replied. I protect it. Why? Because the nobility has grown weak. Divided. Without order, empires fall. The galaxy needs fear again. He raised his staff. Energy crackled. Guards emerged around him. The blast of energy from Ral Vox's staff scorched the metal railing beside me as I ducked behind a reactor coil. Vexa dropped beside me, her cloak smoking from the heat of a plasma bolt. Above us the towering reactor pylons hummed with violent power, and the unfinished eclipse pulse loomed at the center of the chamber like a black spear pointed at the heart of the galaxy. The air crackled with static and war. We need cover, I shouted. We have cover, she said. It is just currently trying to vaporize us. Vox's soldiers advanced along the catwalk platforms, their armor gleaming under the red glow of reactor energy. They were elite enforcers of House Vox, disciplined, efficient, and lethal. There were too many to engage in open combat. No matter how many I dropped, the rest would swarm and overwhelm us. Retreat was not an option either. If we left now, the eclipse pulse would be completed and the galaxy would become a dictatorship under the boot of noble tyranny. Not exactly a good diplomatic outcome. We need another way out, I said. There is no way out, Vexa said. That is why Vox forced us here. She was right. He had not chased us here by accident. He had herded us. Cornered us against the one thing we could not risk damaging. The prototype weapon. He knows we cannot fire on the reactor, I said. Which means we need to stop playing fair, she replied. I glanced at her. Something had shifted in her tone. The sarcasm and cool amusement she usually carried were gone. What replaced them was a cold, dangerous resolve. You have seen this before, I said. Weapons like this. She hesitated before answering. House Thal Research Division experimented with forbidden technology decades ago, she said. The eclipse pulse was one of them. My father shut the program down before anyone could weaponize it. Why would Vox build it then? Power, she said. Order through annihilation. Someone has been feeding him our designs. My house is compromised and I need to know who. So you were not exaggerating when you said we have a common enemy, I said. No, she replied. I underestimated the enemy. A plasma bolt tore through the railing behind us, and I pulled her back just in time. Sparks erupted around us and fragments of metal rained down from the ceiling. We cannot stay here, I said. We need to disable Vox's command uplink. Kill his comms and divide his men. They rely on coordinated tactics. Break the network. Break the army. Vexa pointed to a control spire on the far platform. There. Command uplink node. That might as well be on another planet, I said. Unless we fly. She gave me a look. You brought a drone, did you not? Tink wobbled slightly in the air. This is a terrible idea. 10 out of 10 chance of pain. 0 out of 10 for success probability. Better than my love life, I said. Tink, get Vexa across the gap. I will cover. Vexa blinked. You are staying behind. I need to slow them down, I said. You kill their command. We win time. She studied me for a moment, and her expression softened very slightly. I misjudged you, she said. It happens, I replied. Usually ends badly. She stepped onto the edge of the platform and held out her arm. Tink locked magnetic clamps onto her wrist. If you drop me, I will reprogram you into a beverage dispenser, Vexa said. Unlikely, Tink replied. You would be dead. They launched off the platform just as a barrage of plasma bolts cut through the space they had occupied. I moved fast, sliding along a maintenance rail and firing suppressing shots. The Vox enforcers returned fire in tight synchronized patterns. These soldiers were not just good. They were conditioned. Ruthless. Methodical. Whoever trained them believed in precision over mercy. Ral Vox strode forward through the chaos. He did not flinch. He did not duck. He walked as if bullets were beneath his notice. You cannot stop this, Mercer, he said. Earth is weak. Humanity will kneel like the rest. Humanity has a short attention span, I shouted back. Kneeling is boring. He raised his staff again and unleashed a blast straight at me. It struck the control console I was using as cover, and the resulting explosion threw me across the platform. I collided with a guard who lunged to restrain me. He made the usual mistake. He grabbed instead of struck. A simple joint break and a throat strike later he was down, and I had a new rifle. Tink status, I said through comms. Still alive, Tink replied. However, Vexa is now yelling at me constantly. Might die from irritation. Vexa's voice cut over the link. I can hear you drone. I know, Tink replied. That was intentional. I risked a glance across the chamber. Vexa landed near the uplink tower, dismantling control conduits with expert speed. She moved with purpose, unflinching even under fire. Housethal did not train diplomats. They trained survivors. 4 guards moved on her position. I fired ahead of them, forcing them behind cover. Hurry up, I said. Try doing this while being shot at, she replied. I am doing that, I said. More guards poured in from upper walkways, weapons blazing. We were being surrounded from above and below. If that uplink did not fall soon, we were done. Tink, reroute auxiliary power to the reactor valves, I said. That is not safe. Not asking about safety. Rerouting now. Steam vents exploded along the upper level, blasting out blinding vapor. The guards stumbled, disoriented. I seized the chance to sprint across the rail toward the central spire. Vox fired again. The blast struck the walkway behind me, ripping it apart. I leaped, grabbed a support beam, and swung down to a lower platform. Finally, Vexa snarled. Uplink compromised. The command node's lights burst and flickered out. Across the chamber, Vox's troops hesitated, breaking formation. Their neural command links died. No more synchronized assault. I vaulted over a fallen guard and reached Vexa's position. Good job, I said. Thank me after we survive, she replied. Vox glared at us from across the chamber. You think disabling command will stop me? He raised his hand and a hidden panel slid open beside him. Do you know what that is? Vexa whispered. No, but I probably will not like it. Vox tapped a control rune. The core reactor shields began retracting. A wave of heat blasted us. He is diverting primary power, she said. He is activating the weapon. That is impossible, I said. It is unstable. It will destroy the citadel. He knows, she replied. Vox's voice boomed. Sacrifice is the price of order. The galaxy will fear us again. He was insane. Completely willing to kill every soul on the station just to ignite his new age of terror. Vexa, we need to overload the chamber, I said. Shut it down manually. She stared at the roaring core. That close, the radiation will kill us both. Then we better move fast, I said. We sprinted along the access path to the primary control core while the station shook around us. Explosions tore through support beams. Plasma lines ruptured. Flames erupted. We reached the core console and Vexa began overriding fusion sequences. I kept watch, firing at approaching guards. Plasma cracked past me. Tink hovered near us, scanning. Someone else is coming, he said. One life signature. Approaching fast. Vox, I muttered, aiming. But when the figure emerged through the smoke, my breath caught. This was not Vox. This was someone wearing ceremonial armor of the Elder Council. Even worse, I recognized him. High Chancellor Vorin. Leader of the Council. He should have been in the hall above, surrounded by security. Not here in the engine heart. And certainly not smiling at me like a serpent who had been waiting for its prey. Thank you, Mercer, he said calmly. You have done. Fire rained from the ceiling. Energy conduits ruptured overhead, and molten debris crashed beside us as alarms screamed across the Citadel reactor chamber. High Chancellor Vorin stood at the edge of the platform, calm amid the chaos, his emerald robes fluttering in the storm of metal and flame. His eyes were cold with purpose. He had invited every major power in the galaxy to this summit for peace only to turn the citadel into a weapon platform to rule them by fear. The revelation was not shocking. The truly terrifying part was how prepared he clearly was to finish what he had started. "You were always a manipulator," Vexa said through clenched teeth as she tried to bypass the core system and lock down the Eclipse pulse starting sequence. "But I did not think you were a traitor to the galaxy." "Not a traitor," Vorin said, stepping forward. "A savior." He fired without warning. The blast hit the panel beside me and threw me backward into a steel support beam. The impact knocked the air from my lungs. I rolled just as another scorching bolt burned through the air where my head had been. I returned fire, but he moved with preternatural speed, faster than any politician or official should be capable of. Something was wrong. Tink scanned instantly. Impossibly high bio readings. Cybernetic augmentation detected. Genetic enhancements also present. He is not fully organic. They turned the Chancellor into a weapon, I growled. Or he did it to himself, Vexa said. He believes he is a god now. Vorin descended the steps, not rushing, but savoring the moment. That is the problem with your kind, he said as he advanced. Humans, aliens, nobles alike. You cling to chaos because it makes you feel free. But freedom has no place in galactic civilization. Order must be imposed. Order, I shouted as I deflected another shot with a dropped shield plate. You mean rule by terror? Fear keeps empires alive, Vorin replied. And love keeps them human, Vexa said. He glanced her way. Sentimentality is the drug of the weak. Then I must be addicted, she said, and launched a plasma spear straight at him. He swatted it aside like an insect. Enough of this, I said, and charged. The fight became a blur of movement and impact. Vorin met me with unnatural speed. He blocked every strike with effortless precision. His strength was beyond enhanced. He hit like a shockwave. A punch to my ribs made me feel like my bones cracked. Pain exploded through my chest. He followed with a spin kick that sent me sliding across the catwalk. I caught a railing before I dropped off into the reactor abyss. You fight well, Mercer, Vorin said. For a mistake. I wiped blood from my mouth. People keep calling me that, I said. A mistake. I am starting to take it personally. I lunged again. This time I used speed and misdirection over brute strength. Fakes, diversions, precise angles. I used the assassin training Earth did not put in any diplomatic files. I moved to kill. Slice a tendon. Strike at joints. Hit nerves. Break structure. Disable power. He adapted faster than any opponent I had faced. Every time I changed rhythm, he changed faster. I ducked a fist and fired a point-blank shot into his abdomen. The bolt hit hard. He staggered, looked down, not injured, but irritated. We cannot beat him in a straight fight, I said. Then we do not fight straight, Vexa said. She pulled the detonator from her belt. I stared at her. Please tell me that is not what I think it is. Emergency reactor destabilizer, she said. House-style protocol. We use it when things go horribly wrong. Things have gone horribly wrong, I said. She smashed the control capsule. The reactor core screamed. Red lights turned to lethal white. Overload imminent. Vorin's cybernetic eyes widened. No. The station tremored so violently I nearly lost my grip. You overload the reactor and destroy the pulse, I said. But it will kill us too. Only if we stay, she said. She was already moving. I followed. Vorin's soldiers were scattered now, thrown around by the quaking catwalks. Explosions tore across the chamber. The unfinished pulse crackled with wild energy. Its containment rings collapsed and the weapon began charging itself uncontrollably. Tink shouted over the comms. Reactor meltdown in 2 minutes. Recommend not dying here. Excellent suggestion, I said. We raced across a disintegrating platform as Vorin leaped down from above, landing in our path. He struck with a roar and backhanded me with such force I flew across the chamber and crashed against a support beam. Blackness swallowed my vision for a moment. Through the noise of agony I heard Vexa scream my name. Vorin grabbed her by the throat and lifted her from the ground. You disappoint me, Vexa, he said. I had hoped House thou would stand beside me in the new age. Instead you choose ruin. You choose extinction. She glared through pain. So do you. She stabbed him with an injector spike. He dropped her, clutching his neck. What did you do? He hissed. A reminder, she said. That even gods can bleed. Vorin staggered, systems failing. He reached to crush her, but I was already there. I locked my arm around his throat and drove him back. He slammed me into a beam. Metal crunched. He elbowed me repeatedly, trying to break free. I held on. Skin tore. Blood poured. I was burning alive, and still I held on. You cannot stop this, Mercer, he choked. The galaxy belongs to us. No, I said. It belongs to those who fight for it. I snapped the explosive charges from my belt and locked them onto his spine. His eyes widened. No. Goodbye, Chancellor. I kicked him off the catwalk. He fell into the blazing heart of the reactor just as the charges detonated. A bloom of fire erupted. Vorin vanished in the inferno. The blast nearly ripped the station apart. I hit the ground as shock waves tore through the chamber. Kai Vexa shouted through the smoke. We have to go. I crawled to my feet, lungs drowning in heat. Reactor flood doors closed behind us as we ran. Debris fell around us. Whole sections of the citadel collapsed. Sirens screeched meltdown. Vexa stumbled and I grabbed her before she fell. Through flame and ruin we burst into a maintenance lift. Hydraulic clamps slammed shut behind us just as the chamber dissolved in a catastrophic explosion. The lift shot upward. My vision blurred. Blood dripped from my ribs. Every nerve felt shredded. Tink flickered dangerously. That was either the bravest or dumbest thing you have ever done. Hard to tell the difference sometimes, I muttered. The lift doors opened into a storm of evacuating nobles. Panic consumed the citadel. Shuttles launched from docking bays. Security tried to regain control. No one knew what had truly happened below. And then I saw the nightmare on the broadcast hollow screens. The eclipse pulse sequence has been manually rerouted, said the panicked newscaster. An energy wave is forming. Uncontrolled discharge detected. If it fires, we are all dead. Someone had triggered the weapon during the meltdown. It had 30 seconds to fire. And we were still on board. Vexa turned to me. Can you still move? Barely, I said. But I am not finished yet. We sprinted toward the control tower. We had half a minute left to stop a weapon that could erase star systems. No backup. No plan. Only a choice. Fight or die trying. The control tower of the citadel was a cathedral of glass and steel suspended over chaos. Through its panoramic windows, the burning remains of the reactor chamber glowed like a dying star. Energy arcs crackled along the citadel's spine, and the half-constructed eclipse pulse rose from the debris below, alive with catastrophic power. Emergency klaxons wailed across every level of the tower. Holographic consoles blinked red as system warnings overlapped in a frenzy of mechanical terror. Vexa and I crashed through the tower doors, bruised, burned, and half-broken. A squad of automated defense drones immediately rotated toward us from their ceiling rails, weapons charged. My vision blurred from blood loss, but I still managed to raise my stolen rifle before they could fire. No, I hissed to Tink. Do not waste time. Override them. Tink flashed ahead and jammed into the central control port. A pulse of blue static surged across the room, and the drones froze in place. For now. I am suppressing the defense grid, Tink said, but I cannot hold it long. Someone else is fighting for control of the system. Who? I asked. Unknown source. But they are good. The Eclipse Pulse construction monitor dominated the center of the tower. Its interface displayed a steadily building energy column that threatened to tear a hole through space-time. The countdown sat at 23 seconds. If the pulse discharged even at partial output, it would vaporize the Citadel, Earth's delegation fleet, and anything caught in its line of fire. We have to disable the firing core, Vexa said. We need a full system shutdown. I forced my broken ribs to expand with a breath. Then do it. The tower shook so violently that glass shattered from the ceiling and rained down. Vexa sprinted to the control dais while I covered her from the catwalk. The console sprang to life under her hands. She moved with practiced precision, slicing through security walls, bypassing lockouts. But almost immediately she stiffened. Someone rerouted system access, she said. Vorin anticipated someone would try to shut it down. They buried the manual control behind a neural cipher. Meaning, I asked? Meaning it cannot be unlocked without the encryption sequence in the High Council biometric vault, she said. And only one person has the clearance. Vorin is dead, I said. Then we are out of time, she replied. The tower ceiling split open above us. Wind roared through the breach. Atmospheric pressure dropped suddenly, pulling debris upward toward the opening. I crouched low, gripping a railing. The pulse now blazed with a furious white light that seared the sky. Tink strained to maintain grid control. We are losing containment. Tower structure will not survive the discharge. We just need 30 more seconds, I said. We do not have 30 seconds, Vexa snapped. We barely have 20. Then we skip the unlock sequence, I said. Hard kill the pulse from power intake. She looked at me. Killing power to a weapon that large will ignite a reactor cascade. It will blow us to pieces. Only if we do not time it, she said. We reroute power out the vent pylons. It will fry the grid, but it might stop the pulse. Might, I echoed. Always wanted to gamble with extinction. She typed faster. The tower screamed under strain. I will guide stability, she said. You will need to cut the power anchors manually. There are 4 pylons linked to the pulse intake. Shut them down or the energy will rebound. Just tell me where to go. She pointed across a scaffold outside the tower, suspended over the churning sky of fire and smoke. The pylons glowed along a suspended ring near the pulse. They pulsed like beating hearts prepared to explode. I am going, I said. Kai, wait, Vexa said. She caught my wrist, and in her eyes I saw no games, no politics. Just something real. Do not underestimate what this is, she said quietly. If we survive this, you will change everything. The galaxy will not ignore Earth again. That sounds like a threat, I said. Just go, she said. I sprinted onto the scaffold. Wind ripped at me. Explosions erupted below. The pulse fired stray arcs of deadly energy that sliced metal beams around me. My muscles screamed in protest, but I pushed forward. I reached the first pylon. Its power core throbbed violently. I wrenched open its containment panel and jammed my railpen weapon inside. It discharged with a burst. The pylon died in a wave of sparks. One down, I said. Do not celebrate yet, Tink warned. You only have 3 lifetimes worth of risk remaining. I moved to the second pylon. Plasma fire lanced across the scaffold from beyond. Vox was not dead after all. The commander emerged from a shattered turret, bleeding but alive, hate carved into his face. You think you can undo destiny, Mercer, he roared. You think you have won. I fired at him. He deflected with his staff and kept advancing. I saw then that half his face had been burned away, revealing metal beneath. Cybernetic too. No wonder he had followed Vorin. They had built themselves into something beyond human. You should have died in the reactor, Vox spat. I grabbed a severed cable and lashed it around his staff, pulling him off balance. He collided with a beam. I drove a boot into his chest and followed with a strike that dislodged his targeting optics. He swung wildly. I ducked and hit him again. He collapsed. I aimed my weapon. He laughed. Kill me and nothing changes, he said. I know, I said. Instead of shooting him, I ripped the power relay from his armor and slammed it into the second pylon. It detonated in a flash of blue. The pylon died. 2 anchors down. Vox stared in disbelief. You would risk everything for nothing. No, I said. I would risk everything to stop people like you. He charged at me in rage. I sidestepped and used his momentum to throw him off the scaffold. He fell into the burning chasm below. I did not watch him land. I tore across the scaffold to the next anchor. My lungs were on fire. The pulse core now burned so bright it looked like a newborn star. Every hair on my body stood on end from the radiation storm. 20 seconds until forced discharge, Vexa warned. I disabled the third pylon. Sparks ignited my sleeve. The scaffold buckled. Last one, Tink said. Go. The fourth pylon was barely hanging on above a collapsing beam. I leaped across the gap as the scaffold tore apart behind me. I grabbed the pylon with one hand and dangled above a 1,000-meter drop into fire. My fingers slipped. I hung on by 3 of them. I had no leverage. No time. No margin left. So I stopped thinking. I let go. I dropped just long enough to slam my other hand onto the lower support rail and swing myself onto the maintenance rung beneath the pylon. Pain exploded through my arm. I reached up with my free hand, grabbed a detonator crystal from my belt, and jammed it into the pylon core. It exploded in a brief but violent chain reaction. The anchor died. All anchors severed, I said. Vexa hit the final command. Her voice came through the calm like hammered steel. Rerouting pulse surge now. The sky tore itself apart. A blinding shockwave of raw energy blasted out from the pulse. Instead of firing outward, it collapsed inward and vented across the dead pylons. The beam retracted into itself, then imploded in a devastating light storm. The weapon shrieked as its coil systems overloaded and ruptured. The tower shattered. Wind,